Hello and welcome to Megan's Minute. I'm your host, Megan Lavin, owner of the recipe site, allergyawesomeness.com. Together with Allergic Living, we discuss topics that affect those living with food allergies. Today, because it's the beginning of 2024, I want to discuss last year's goals and focus on some new ones for this year. If you remember last year's video, I had some pretty lofty goals for our food allergic family. One was to have my son safely attend his first sleepaway camp, and another was for our family to safely go on a cruise for the first time together. I gave each of those their own videos after the fact if you want to watch them for another deep dive. But I'm just going to give you a little spoiler alert. Looking over last year, we had a lot of wins. The sleepaway camp was a great success. The cruise was wonderful. Now, of course, it took some planning and some advocating, but my son had a great time at both, and the most important part, he was able to be safe. We also had a pretty big downer. My son tried wheat for an oral challenge and had such a bad reaction, he had to have 2 shots of epinephrine for it to calm down. We were really hoping he would pass, and that was a disappointment. We were also pretty sad when the 𝗏𝗡 product didn't pass the FDA approval. If you hadn't been following that, it was going to be a nasal spray of epinephrine versus a shot, and so that was a bit of a bummer too. Though, as I reflect on last year, because I think it's important to do so before just moving on, I realized that's kind of how food allergy life and really just life in general goes, right? You have some wins, but you also take some losses, and then you just do your best to keep on moving. Even recently, on a smaller level of just this week, I've been trying to figure out this certain recipe. I've tried all the top recommendations and they just have not worked. It's been a frustrating week in the kitchen with big messes, wasted expensive ingredients, and unsatisfied tummies. I know anyone who has tried to cook a food allergy friendly recipe knows what I mean. Even us food bloggers who have hundreds of recipes on our site still face those same frustrations in the kitchen. Ugh, right? But I have to recognize I've also had some great wins in the kitchen last year with some new family favorites like my raspberry fluff or my chewy caramel corn. I think the trick in life is to learn from the losses and then celebrate the wins. I look forward to all that 2024 can bring us, and I'm trying to welcome it. I hope that no matter what it brings, when it's all over, just like this year, we can look back and be grateful and be happy and made the most of what has come to us. In 2024, we don't have as many big things planned, but we will be sending my son to the sleepaway camp for the second time. And sometimes they move locations, and this time it's going to be at a cabin site. Last year they were sleeping in tents, so it's going to be different hurdles because there'll be different ways of cooking. And now we're going to have to work with more of a cafeteria style, but we are up for the challenge. We're not going to do any big family trips this year, but I am hoping to sneak away to FACS conference in November. It's a big trip for me because it's across the US, so my son will be eating without me, his main food provider, and as any allergy parent knows, leaving out of town takes a lot of planning, a lot of effort, and a good deal of pre-cooking. And as a family, we're hoping to head to an amusement park that's several hours away, sometime in the fall, and they do not have any safe food because we've been there multiple times, so that takes planning and prep since we want to spend the whole day there. Another biggie is my son is going to be going into middle school this fall. I don't know how that happened. Time is flying. It is a thief. So we will be working on his 504 in a different way because he's not going to have a dedicated teacher with him all day like in elementary. There's a new cafeteria to work with and a new principal, so that will be a learning opportunity. I walk into these challenges with a full heart, knowing that we've made it this far and that together as a family, we can figure these things out together. You know, sometimes you have to look back to realize how far you've come and that you've done difficult things in the past, so you're equipped to do them again. We can do this. No matter what your 2024 is looking like, I hope the road ahead will shape you for the better. You know, I used to want to say things like, I hope it'll be an easy year for you. But let's be honest, no one usually gets away with that. So instead, I hope that both the good and the bad can shape us all into an even wiser and better version of ourselves. I hope that we can be kind to ourselves in that growing and stretching process as well. To see my past videos about the sleepaway camp, how we did that, or the cruise, or any of the other many topics I cover, go to Allergic Living's IGTV or their YouTube channel. Until next time, be safe, take your auto injectors with you, and advocate. We got this 2024.